Apple visionary and CEO Steve Jobs showed up today at a company event in San Francisco. This was his first public appearance since having a liver transplant. My next guest is a veteran of Silicon Valley. Andy Bechtolsheim is a co-founder of Sun Microsystems and an early investor in Google. He is now chairman of Arista Networks, and he joins us from our San Francisco newsroom. Andy, welcome to Bloomberg News.
Good morning. Good afternoon, rather.
Andy, first off, Mr. Jobs showing up at that event, what's the impact of that, do you think?
Well, I think everybody in Silicon Valley is delighted that Steve is back full-time as Apple, and everybody in Silicon Valley just wouldn't be the same without Steve.
Speaking of the tech industry as a whole and what's been going on in Silicon Valley, tell me how the economic climate has affected how things are being done in Silicon Valley. What's the last year been like?
Well, you know, revenue it doesn't matter whether it's server, storage, or networks, is down between 20, 25, in some cases 30% year over year. So there has been a significant reduction in revenues reported, but companies are regrouping, and they're doing the best to address future growth opportunities in this kind of environment.
You were an early investor in Google. What are you going to be looking to hear at the investor conference today?
I'm actually not going to that investor conference. I'm not an insider, so I have no idea what they're going to talk about.
Okay. Tell me, as the co-founder, you were a co-founder of Sun Micro and an early investor in Google. Now you have the financial freedom basically to do whatever it is that you want. What made you decide to become a full-time employee in Arista?
Well, I enjoy building better products, and the one major opportunity I saw was the data center 10 gigabit Ethernet market, which is a very important new development, and actually one that's growing significantly, including this year where the rest of the industry is down. We expect to see double the 10 gigabit port shipments this year, and double again next year, and double again the following year. So this is one of the few market segments that actually has a high growth dynamics.
Well, how can Arista compete against the industry giants? You're competing against some huge players, including Cisco Systems.
Yeah, we are focusing on the high-performance technical computing market, including Wall Street, and also the web or cloud market. And these two market segments, we don't see Cisco that much. So we have a product that's uniquely designed for the requirements of these customers. And again, we're one of the few, if not only, companies that's really addressing the market requirements in that space. So we don't actually see a lot of direct competition from other companies.
Why are software and computer makers working so hard right now, I guess, to change how they do business? Are you sensing a shift in the industry? If so, what is it?
Well, there is a major shift towards standard merchant silicon solutions, both in the server storage side as well as on the networking side. We at Arista don't build our own silicon, but we do invest heavily in the software part of that. And our software is purposely designed for these data center requirements to allow partners, customers, and ourselves to add more and more features very easily and very quickly. And we see new requirements for the functionality of these networks literally every week. So there is a new race here of delivering these new features and functionalities to the market, and this is what we are focusing on.
What are some of the more technical issues that you might be concerned about? Is green technology at the top of the list?
Well, the network is a very small part of the overall power consumption at data center. So power consumption is important on every element, but the network is actually a small single-digit part of that overall problem. Now, what our customers want is better cost performance, lower latency, help with their high-frequency trading applications, which are very, very important to them. And our single largest market segment, quite honestly, is Wall Street customers that are more than 1/3 of our total revenue to date. So we've been more successful in the financial markets than any other segments with our product.
What's the mood in Silicon Valley right now? Is there a sense that an economic recovery is now underway, that we finally hit bottom?
Well, the stocks are up. I would say the revenue side of that is lagging a little bit. It seems to be stabilizing, and it also depends on the exact product cycle on any given industry. So, for example, Intel has some new hot CPU chips, and they're doing well, and people have perhaps waited for those chips. In other areas, it's a little lagging. So there's always the question how the customer spending is shifting between different elements of the IT industry. Again, the 10 gigabit part of the market that we're going after, we've seen some very good growth dynamics, including this calendar year. But there's clearly other markets where spending has been cut significantly.
Andy Bechtolsheim, chairman of Arista Networks, joining us from our bureau in San Francisco. Mr. Bechtolsheim, thanks for your input. Appreciate it.
Thank you.